Hi guys, welcome back to another Counter-Strike video. In this video, we're going to take a look at a little bit more in-depth into Gauntlet team building and ship selection. So grab a coffee, sit back, relax, and let's go. By the end of this video, you should have an idea on how to create a balanced PvP team that fits your playstyle. If you want to get a recap on what the other things you shouldn't miss to be better at PvP, you can check it out right here. Since there's no such thing as a one team win all sort of solution, it also means anything can work, and depending on who you're up against, you could win or lose. Well, obviously. So let's start off with what type of team to build. I personally categorize PvP teams into three variety of compositions: the Rush Comp, the Stall Comp, and the Gimmick Comp. Let's first dive into the Rush Comps. Rush compositions to me have a general average deployment cost of under 3. This lineup consists of mostly 2 cost units with an occasional 3 cost, and in situations where there are up units, you may even squeeze in a 4 cost as well and still work. These compositions' general rule of thumb is to dump all your units onto the field as quickly as possible while doing enough damage to the enemy frontline before they could set up their backline. The second one is the Stall Comp. Stall compositions are generally somewhere between 3.3 average deployment cost and above. The objective is to drop units that are sticky, meaning they tend to be able to stay on the field and gradually snowball. Each unit deployed will not only fulfill its own role, but also enhances the others on the field. When you finally push the enemy back, chances are for a comeback is extremely low, but still not impossible. The third is the Gimmick Comp. These are highly creative comps that abuses a certain mechanic to chase a win. They usually fare very well against certain comps, but extremely weak against others. Something like an elemental advantage in other games. A very good example is a team that uses New Ohio's silencing field to gain the initiative in skill casting. Against a standard soldier rush team that doesn't rely on skill activation, literally just makes the winning factor of the comp absolute trash. Now that you have a brief idea, you can pick up any sort of comps I mentioned which you feel good playing and build a team accordingly. You must be curious then, what employees to use? And my answer to that is anything. Wait.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Before you jump to conclusions, there are a few conditions. Number 1, they need to have synergy. Number 2, there should be a winning factor in your team. Number 3, it has to make logical sense, because you're not going to win games if all you have are healers in the team. Make sense? To help you get a general sense, in the next part I will share a very standard structure of a well-balanced PvP team. Among the 8 slots that you have, you want to allocate 2 to 3 front lines or melee tanks and off tanks. 1 or 2 winning factors, and these are going to be the reason your team wins. Very often would be a very powerful unit that does a lot of damage or has a mechanic that allows you to steamroll your way through the enemy ranks. And the remaining 3 to 5 slots are going to be supports depending on your strategy. I'm gonna say it again. This is just how to have a balanced team that is most likely prepared for most situations. You can crank up the aggressiveness or turtling factors of the team composition depending on your preference. So try things out and see what fits you. I know in the end I did not mention or recommend any specific employees, not because I do not have any, but I want you who is watching this video to not feel like your favorite unit isn't meta or strong, because there's always the way to make them work. For some situations. Well, we can't be too greedy sometimes, yeah? I'll be explaining about the other important factors in detail as well, so if you haven't, remember to subscribe to the channel to not miss out. The next thing I'll be talking about is the ship choice. Ship plays a very big role in ranked gauntlet matches, and the benefit a ship can provide the team can be a very strong passive boost and or utilities like barriers and knockbacks, which could sometimes instantly win you the game. Ships are actually very straightforward. For a more aggressive play, you want to have an offensive ship that provides a passive damage boost and active skills that will complement its passive. For example, like Enterprise, its passive increases hit chance and attack percentage for counters and mechs. Kami Izumi increases critical damage, and both their skills displaces enemies, causes debuffs, and pushes enemy back. For a more defensive, stalling approach, you want to use something like a Lake Superior, Gleipnir Armor, or Pod. They provide damage reduction passives, shields, and some form of utility on their active skill. To have a clearer picture, here's an example of a team composition with a ship that complements it. For a more aggressive comp, you can, which have a lot of things like, Chifuyu, Hild, Claudia, Ares, Sword Fighter, Ainz and Zwei, Sylvia, and Rifleman, you can pair them with New Detroit, because in this team, the main contributor and the main factor of the team are the strikers. For a more defensive comp, a comp that has Awakened Hill, Chinatsu, Kyle, Evelyn, Admin Shilman, Ainz and Zwei, Rosaria. This comp will fit very well with defensive comps because a lot of them actually provide more damage mitigation and stall time for people like Edel and Rosaria to be on the field and start dealing a lot of damage. If you have any questions about your team choices or anything related to that, drop it in the comment and I'll try my best to answer your query. I would not want to flood you with too much information since the most important thing is to enjoy the game. It is just too sad that with such an intuitive meta system doesn't get as much play as it should, so if this guide helped you in any way, don't forget to leave a like and let me know what you'd like to know more in the comment section below. Until the next video, see ya!